Hello, listeners, and thank you so much for joining us on this wonderful, hot, I think it's almost rainy 4th of July. I also want to welcome back Al, who wasn't here on last week. So, Al, thank you.
Al. Thank you.
Al, did you listen to me last week?
No, I didn't. I was sick. I was not feeling real good. Not at all.
Well, that's all right. I'm glad you're back with us on
Thank
today.
Thank you.
And I want to say hello to Paul, who's here as well. Paul, I want to say happy 4th of July.
Yeah.
So, listeners, today we have another wonderful show for you for this week. We're talking about home ownership, the American dream. If you want to participate in this week's program, please give us a call at 810-239-5733. Again, the number is 810-239-5733. In the studio today, we have again Ms. Cheryl Woodyard, who is the Vice President and Senior Branch Manager at Flagstar Bank. Since obtaining her current management position in 2005, Cheryl's overall responsibilities include banking and investing services, servicing the greater community, and leading an outstanding team of bankers. So, Ms. Cheryl Woodyard, I want to tell you thank you again for joining us.
Absolutely. It is, of course, my pleasure. Anytime I can share good information with your listening audience, I'm absolutely willing to do that. So I'm very excited to be here again. So let's get started giving some good information for your listening audience.
All righty. A lot of people have right now they're saying this is a buyer's market as far as home ownership. And you get some individuals who have been renting for a long time. When I was married, we owned our home. I wasn't responsible for the mortgage, thank God. But then after my divorce, I started renting. Renting was a form of security for me, whereas you just pay the rent. You wasn't responsible for any exterior type of maintenance. If something went wrong, it was someone else's responsibility. But as I have gotten older, as my finances have changed, I'm now looking into purchasing a home.
Well, I'm the one to help you with that.
All right, so tell me, what's the benefit of owning a home opposed to renting?
Well, let's take your example.
Okay.
You've been renting for a considerable time frame, and in that time frame, I promise you, you would have been able to own a home.
Okay.
So just by way of giving an example, if let's say you've been paying $600 in rent, and let's say your utilities are about $250 and renter's insurance of about $30, that's a total of $880. Over 10 years of paying that rent, you would have paid $75,600. The bad news is that you do not own the property, so you would have to keep on making that payment.
That is true.
So using the same exact total amount for a mortgage, let's say your mortgage payment is $430, your utilities are $250, home insurance about $100, and property taxes of about $100. That is the same amount you were paying, $880. Over 10 years, that $75,600 makes you a home owner.
Okay. So I do see the difference. Another thing is that they always tell you look at your credit. Make sure that your credit is this number and that number. How does credit affect you when applying for a mortgage?
Well, the good news is that no matter where your credit is starting, there is a way to improve it. So of course, everybody knows that the better your credit is, the more buying power you have. And when I say buying power, I specifically mean that you are not going to pay as high an interest rate as someone whose credit score is not as high. So on average, if you have a credit score of 600, you're not going to get the same great rate as the person whose credit score is 700.
Okay.
That kind of feels like, well, why should I have to have that better score? I have friends who are getting a loan. I'm saying you don't know what the impact of their score is on their payment, what kind of interest there is. So that's the part that is key.
Okay.
I always recommend everybody pull your credit report annually. If you go to freeannualreport.com, they give you your report, and there is no charge for that. Now, if you want to find out what the actual score is, that's going to cost you a couple extra bucks. But listen, just taking a look at what has been reported for you is so important. Everybody makes mistakes. The credit reporting agencies sometimes get conflicting information that is incorrect.
True.
It is so important that you get that report, take a look through it, go line by line. If something is duplicated, that's a negative impact. If there is information that doesn't belong to you, that's a negative impact. So owning your credit score, how you manage your funds, how you make your payments is so important. And if you're able to do that, start one step at a time. Pick one item on the report. Try to manage your way through that so that you get the lift to your score.
Okay, I do know that to be true as far as the 3 reporting agencies for your credit report, because my student loans, one of the reporting agencies said that I was behind on the student loan payment. The other 2 said that I wasn't behind. Well, the truth was I was never behind because they've been in deferment for so many years. So therefore, it's just a matter of writing and disputing it.
That's correct.
And if it's not removed, write and make sure that it's cleared, because what I find that a lot of people do is they'll just send a letter or make a phone call and think that it's taken care of.
No.
You have to constantly stay on it, just like anything else. You have to constantly stay on it to make sure things are taken care of. Also, I found things on my credit report that had nothing to do with me. Because of my name. My last name is like a familiar name or a common name.
Right.
So if somebody also used my social security number and had something in my credit report. So I do find that to be very important to make sure that you look at all 3 companies, make sure they are aligned. If they're not, write those companies and stay on it, because I don't think you can really call and talk to anyone. I think it's an automated system.
It is.
That you
It's
speak
automated, but most importantly, when you write that letter, you are creating a paper trail and a timestamp. Once you mail it, it becomes a legal document.
Okay.
They have to respond within 45 business days. Once you write the letter, you put down what you are disputing. They have to respond. Now, if it's me, I'm all over it.
Okay.
I do this every year. I've only had one negative impact, and I took care of it as soon as I saw it. And seriously, within that 45 days, they sent back a letter. We did our investigation. We're sorry about this. Here you go. And they took it off. So I was very, very happy about that.
Okay.
And again, everybody, I want you to know you have to protect your credit. Fraud is very, very real. The bad guys never sleep. They are constantly looking for a way to use your good name and use your credit to do things they shouldn't be. That's the bottom line.
Okay. Let's go back to credit, because I know your credit rating is very, very important when purchasing a home or anything, a car, or just a refrigerator and stove if you want to use some credit. What should a credit score be? And if I don't have that number, does Flagstar Bank offer any assistance to help me to get that magic number?
Well, the magic number, on average, if you are at about a 660 or better, then you're going to get the better rates. However, if you're at a 600, Flagstar Bank is still willing to help. We have programs that are specifically designed for our community members who may not be at a 660 or a 680. We also, if you bring in that credit report, we'll take a look at it and kind of give you some guidance. I cannot give you specific recommendations that if you do or don't do, then we will or may not
Okay.
do business with you.
Okay.
I don't mean that. I mean just good common sense, straightforward advice on how to get your credit together.
Okay.
And it's easier than most people think. I do know that a lot of what is on people's credit right now are medical bills.
Yes.
So I always say, contact every creditor. If you're having difficulty making payments, contact them, let them know what you can pay. Everybody would rather have some part of the balance rather than no part of the balance.
That's
so
true.
go out on that limb, be brave, be courageous, take control of your credit circumstance, and do something about helping yourself get that credit score up. But again, our minimum that we've got a mortgage lending program for is $600.
I've read that and I'm excited to share that. I mean, I got excited
yeah.
myself when I saw that.
Oh yeah.
So let's say we got the score 660 as you stated, okay? But I may not have been on my job for more than a year. Is there a certain employment history you need to have in order for you to apply for a loan?
Well, so just using your example, you've been in your current job for about a year. If you have been in the same profession, in the same field, we will take a look at that. But if you went from being a manager at McDonald's into being an x-ray tech now that you graduated, that's going to be something that we will take a look at.
Okay.
Generally speaking, you're probably going to be making more money in your new position. We'll take a look at what we need to do to kind of help you get ready for that next step toward home ownership. But in general, we're looking for at least 2 years. And again, if you've changed employers but you're in the same industry, that's just fine as well.
Okay, so like me, I've been teaching for 18 years. I can't believe it's been 18 years. I actually started in 2000.
Well, but you were only 10, so it's okay.
I can't teach 10-year-olds. So I started in 2000, but I've been at different institutions teaching. So now for what I do, I'm still in education, but it's just a different, not different locations, a different company. So I would still be able to apply for a loan.
Absolutely would, because you're still in the same industry. So that is, we'll take a look at everything that has led you from start to finish, and you're still in the same industry. It doesn't matter how many times you changed in there. And I'm assuming that as you have moved through your profession, you have made more money, you've had more accomplishments, you've had more positives. So yeah, that's definitely permissible.
Okay, so all right, so I know about the credit score and what I need to have for a credit score. I understand what I need to do if there's any discrepancies on my credit report. I understand the number that I need to have or to apply for a mortgage, or to get started with a mortgage. And then now I understand my work history. What are the steps to apply for a mortgage?
Okay, this is my favorite question of the day. I always recommend get pre-approval. There is nothing as disappointing as going out, you're excited, I'm going to get a house. You go, you start looking, you find a house, you fall in love. It has everything you ever hoped for.
Wait. Let me tell you a story, and the reason why a lot of people do that. So, I was looking for a new car several years ago, and I go to Detroit, for my cars. And so, I knew I was making that big money. So I go, you ready for this, Al? I go over and I'm going to get me a Volvo.
Woo! Okay.
Yes. So I go over there and they treat you differently.
Oh yeah.
Over there in the Volvo section.
Yeah.
They pulled my credit report. They sent me over to the Hyundai section.
Wow.
So I'm sorry,
they didn't know.
I'm sorry. I'm like, well, I make the money. They said it's based on your credit score.
Yes.
I'm like, wow, but I had the money.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. We do go look at the house first. That's what pump us up.
No.
And then we get in your chair. That backs us back down.
Oh, yeah. So I'm saying get your pre-approval before going to shop for a home so that you don't fall in love with a house that falls outside of your financial means. So knowing exactly how much house you can afford before you go gives you buying power. The pre-approval process, we're going to take a look at income, how long you've been on the job, what kind of credit score you have, and we're going to do just some basic calculations that will let you know you can afford a house payment of $430, whatever it may be. We're going to let you know what that is. So a $430 home payment is probably going to get you something in the $60,000 to $75,000 range. We don't want to put you in something that's going to be uncomfortable for you. You can't do anything other than just make this payment. So we want to be clear about getting that together.
Okay.
And then coming up with down payment, that's usually the number one barrier beyond the credit score. So Flagstar Bank, I'm so proud to say, we have 2 different mortgage gifting programs. The first one is up to $3,500. Minimum credit score with that one is 620. And as long as you're in the house for at least 3 years, you don't need to worry about having any repayment. I have a second program. The minimum credit score for this one is 600. It's up to 7,500, and again, as long as you stay in the home a minimum of 3 years, you don't have to repay it. But let's say that you do decide with that $7,500 program that you need to move.
Okay.
The repayment is only going to be up to whatever time frame you had left within that 3 years. So just to give an example, if you qualify for the entire $7,500, you lived in the house for 2 years, you only have to pay 1/3 of that $7,500 back, and it's going to be a low term fixed loan that'll fit easily into your budget.
Okay.
These 2 programs are powerhouses right now in the greater Genesee County area, specifically because Flagstar Bank is a huge lender. In fact, nationwide, we in the top 10 for this very creative kind of gifting to make certain that we are reaching out to as many people in the communities that we serve as possible. So I am very, very excited and super proud that Flagstar is taking the lead on this.
Okay. Callers, I just want to take a quick break right now. Callers, if you're interested in what we're talking about, honestly, if you have a credit report, little joke like I gave, which was so serious. Every time I see a person in Volvo, I say, at least a new Volvo, not old one. So they got good credit scores. So, there's a Volvo dealership on Center Road, and every time I go past, I say, oh, gotta have good credit score to be there. So anyways, callers, if you're interested in what we're talking about, please give us a call at 810-239-5733. Again, the number is 810-239-5733. Also, Chia Adult Skills Center is accepting enrollment for adults over the age of 25 who resides in the zip codes of 48504, 48505, and 48506. I do know adults that this is summertime, summer breaks, and some of you think you should be on summer break as well. However, school shall be starting in less than 2 months.
You gotta get in.
Gotta get in. Our seats are limited because of the uniqueness of our Adult Learning Center. Again, we work with adults over the age of 25, and we have a special program for adults who live in the zip codes of 48504, 48505, and 48506. I also want to share another program. Chia also has a prisoner reentry program
which
for
is much
males.
Needed. Yes.
And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago as a partnership with Reconnections, but we're also able to offer the program for any male we consider a returning home citizen who also needs our help that isn't going through the Reconnection Male Prisoner Reentry Program. So for any adults who are interested in our academic training program, please give us a call at 810-553-2140. Again, the number is 810-553-2140. We are on summer break. We do have 2 summer breaks for this year. This is our first summer break. We do not return back until July 9th. Can you believe July 9th?
It is here.
We return 10 o'clock. We return 10 o'clock Monday morning, July 9th. So if you have any questions or interest in our academic training, please give us a call. Cheryl, I want to ask you a question. Now, I do understand you have these 2 grants, and everybody needs to understand the difference between grants and a loan. Okay, and these grants do not have to be repaid. Is that correct?
The $3,500 one does not. And the only way you would have to pay any part of the $7,500 program back is if you move out of that home within the first 3 years.
Okay, so let's say if I just purchased a home a year ago, can I refinance my current mortgage and apply for this grant?
You, I'm sorry to say, cannot.
Okay.
If you are in your home, and I don't care how long you've been in it, if you've been in your home for over 3 years and you want to refinance, you may very well fall into the position to be able to get one of these programs. The gifting program is specifically for home ownership. Now, the fact that you may have owned it for more than 3 years does not exclude you from being able to take participation in one of the programs that we're offering.
Okay. Another question I have for you, just seemed to slip my mind right quick.
Well, while you get your point back, I do want to share this. For these programs, you will need to take the online class
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
www.frameworkhomeownership.org. You complete that program, and there is a $75 fee, but it is so well worth it because it's going to cover information like how much you can afford, how to fix and improve your credit, how to choose a real estate agent, the steps of the mortgage process, roles of the professionals who are involved in the mortgage process, and what to include in your offer, and lastly, inspection basics. So that's just some of what gets covered in there, and that's important because you don't want to just trust everybody around you and not ask any questions that you may need answered so that you feel more comfortable with the process. Everybody who's going to help you get your mortgage is going to be dedicated to you getting in that house, but we want you to be educated before you get in there so that you're comfortable with what you're doing and how do you take care of things, who to call, what to do. So that basic information is covered in the frameworkhomeownership.org. So
does Flagstar Bank work with certain realtors?
No. We're open to everybody.
Okay.
And in fact, it would be impossible for us to just specifically work with one particular group because we do loans nationwide.
Okay.
So with that in mind, we do have good relationships with pretty much all of the realtors in our area. Someone or maybe multiple parties from different real estate offices, and that's important too because we want to make certain that we have good relationships out there so that when we have a program like the 2 that we've been talking about, that they know they can contact us and we're going to do right by their clients.
I do know that when I got the information about your mortgage grants, I did contact a real estate agent and let her know about the benefits of these 2 programs, and she was so elated because what she finds is that most people skip the process. They come to a realtor first because they saw a house, and then the sad part is she can show them the house, but she always have to send them to a financial institution in order for them to get pre-qualified. So again, listeners, there is a process, a step that you need to go through, and don't go through the process like I did with a vehicle. Get pre-approved first. Find out what you are qualified for. And what's most important that I found as I go through the process of looking for a home, I've already identified 2 locations. I already called the real estate agent about the 2 locations. It's going to a financial institution to see exactly what I qualify for. So again, I just want to go over the steps again to make sure that listeners understand the process. Because please, I want you to be able to get these homes. I want you to be able to enjoy something that you will learn to love. Because this is one thing that I've learned. Most people don't know that I used to work as an interior designer in high-end sales. That's what my first degree is in. But you have to work on weekends. That was something else. Teaching, you don't have to work on weekends. But I love designing because it's transferable skills, because I love putting programs together. And what I learned as an interior designer, it may be a home that doesn't look the way that you want it to look, but if you end up working with an individual that can give you the vision of how it can look, you can take a house that look like and it be turned out so beautifully. This is why we have a lot of these HGT television shows on now. Not necessarily do you need to do it yourself, but to be able to have a home in a nice, safe neighborhood that you didn't have to pay as much for, but you still have a little nest egg where you can do some rehabbing to the home in order to bring it to a beautiful home that you probably couldn't even envision. Because what I do find is that a lot of people, and I would say my ex-husband, who I know is not listening to this show, so he wanted something that was already put together. And what I find is if it's already put together, that means you got to maintain it because that's what you like. And so sometimes when you have a house that's already put together, oh my God, maintaining it is a lot of work. So I know that he ended up purchasing this one home and it had a lot of landscaping to it. It was beautiful, but guess what? He had to maintain that landscaping.
That's right.
So he ended up having to hire somebody to do that landscaping work, which costs a lot of money. For me, as long as it's a solid foundation in a safe, nice neighborhood, you could just give me something. I know how to make it work.
Right.
So the houses you like have to have good bones.
Oh, yes, it had to have good bones. Yeah, good bones. Other than that, I can make it look whatever I want to, because I'm not trying to really move into a home that's ready to move in like a lot of people are. So I know how to make it work for me. Yeah. So let's go over the process again, so I don't want anyone's feelings getting hurt when you sit down to apply for a mortgage. So what is the first step we need to know?
First step is a little bit of homework before you come and see your banker. Pull your credit report, take a look at it. If there is any work that needs to be done, write those letters, contact those reporting agencies, and take care of any disputes. Next, you want to make certain that you get yourself pre-approved. That means you know what's on your credit, you know you have at least a 600 credit score, you get to the bank, you sit down with the banker, that you're going to actually do an application. We're going to get you pre-approved. That way you'll know how much house you can afford and which one of the programs that you'll be qualified for. Go online, www.frameworkhomeownership.org. Take the class. It's $75, but it's going to give you that basic information so that you truly feel confident and comfortable with going through the mortgage loan process. And in the end, it's probably going to take a few weeks, start to finish. If you're as dedicated to getting the home as we will be in helping you get the home, we're probably looking at 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
If you do it, we're willing to be in there with you. Let's get it done together.
Oh, well. You hear that, Al?
Yes, I did.
Those are steps I have to take.
Yes.
I'm nervous.
You nervous?
Don't be nervous. Cheryl will see you through.
There you go.
Al,
Yes.
have you ever looked into purchasing a home?
No.
Okay.
Well, I put it like this. Yes, I have. Okay. The home that I'm living in now.
Yes.
Okay. I would love to purchase that.
Okay.
Right. But
we'll talk in a minute.
Okay, I'm serious. I really
Oh,
would.
am I?
Okay, okay. But I think the landlord,
Okay.
he wants too much for it, right? Especially the area that it's in. But you know, it's a beautiful area.
But
You
what
know,
I will say, do your homework.
right? I have.
Yeah, do your homework. And that's another thing why I got in touch with a real estate agent first in order to give me some ideas as to how much the houses are going in a specific neighborhood.
Okay.
Because sometimes I think when you're dealing with a landlord, they don't expect for you to have done your homework first.
Right. Right.
Homework.
So you do your homework first.
Okay.
And then you'll know how much it's worth, how much, you know what? The going price for it in the houses that's around the property too is another thing that I've looked at.
Right.
They may, how can I say, it may be worth a certain amount, but if the houses around it is being sold for less,
Right.
he's gonna have to come down on that
his
price.
price. Exactly.
So keep going. I'm sorry, I do interrupt.
Yeah.
like
He
that,
you know, he spent back in early 70s. And something like that, he spent about maybe 40,000 for the house, and he wanted to charge me fee $50K, right? That's too much, man.
Talk to Cheryl.
Yeah, I
You
am.
need to send me
I am.
because it doesn't matter what he asks for.
Right.
We are going to do an appraisal.
Okay.
And if the appraisal comes back at 35,
Right.
that's what he'll have to take, or he just can't sell it.
Yeah.
There,
Yeah.
of course, we all, like Dr. Marseille said, she loves to decorate. Once we put our blood, sweat, and tears into it, of course, I think it's the Taj Mahal.
Right.
But I might not get Taj Mahal money based on the appraisal. So get that appraisal.
Yeah.
That's going to be your bargaining power right there.
Right.
And again, if he decides he's waiting for 50,000,
Yeah.
then please don't give in.
No.
because
No, I don't.
That's not going to be a good use of your funds, especially
Really?
if again it's not worth that.
Okay.
He's come with all kinds of stuff.
That's all right.
He came with another deal at a lower price, but as is.
Okay.
As is.
That's
Okay.
code for it needs a
A lot of work. You understand?
Yeah,
Right.
because if he puts some money into it, he may increase that price.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
he's not.
Yeah.
So
Well, good luck on that one.
Thank you,
Talk
thank
to
you.
Cheryl
Come
when we get
see
done.
me.
I sure will.
Alrighty,
All right.
listeners.
Okay.
Next week, I'm going to be here next week, and I want you to join me as I talk about the pros and cons of entrepreneurship. So is that my time?
That's your time.
Alrighty, thank you, listeners,
Thank
for listening,
you.
and we'll talk to you next week.
30 minutes. You
Good
may
show.
Thank you.
Good show.